We dive into the dark where truth collides.
Forensic minds unravel the twisted thread. True crime tales from the living and the dead.
Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Echoes of the past in every crime.
From the profiler's chair to the courtroom fight, we seek the reasons in the dead of night.
Motives buried deep in hearts gone cold. Stories of the broken waiting to be told. Why did they do it? To help, for love, in anger or insane? Who will remember them? Who is to blame? The victims deserve justice. The guilty should be until the end of time. Join the quest. Uncover the line.
All right, everybody. I hope that you are doing well, and I hope you enjoy my newest little ditty, my newest little song. I like the part that says, "Why did they do it in anger or insane?" Yeah, what's the definition of insane? I think it is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Correct? If we're unhappy with the way that things are, there has to be a change. And maybe it's a behavioral change. Maybe it's just something that you need to do or choose to do yourself. Maybe it's even changing jobs or moving, making a new group of friends, stop drinking, stop using opiates, stop going live when you are using drugs and alcohol, stop flirting with other women when the camera is rolling and your wife or girlfriend can see everything. But I think the top of that whole pyramid is, why do you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results? I know for a fact that when a situation becomes messy and out of control and hurtful, people are getting hurt. There are innocent bystanders being hurt. People that are not doing the bad behaviors, they are the ones that end up being hurt, like little kids that live in the house, while the adults are being self-destructive. The little kids are the ones that end up feeling terrified and afraid and directionless because they have no power. But the ones that are choosing to use drugs and get drunk and basically blow their lives up while cameras are rolling all over the house. We got some cameras going in one side of the room, the other side of the room, this room, that room. It is off the rails. I just spent a little over a week in Disney World with my family. It was a blast. We had a great time. And I was amazed at the lengths that people go to get a thrill, right? Like we rode Rock and Roller Coaster, and it's like you kind of forget the intensity of the feeling. And then when you ride it again, you're like, oh my God, that was so great. And then you practically run, or maybe you do run, to get back in line to do it again, right? Because it just feels so great. And it's just such a rewarding to be able to safely get the adrenaline rush. It could be terribly addictive, right? And part of the rush that you're getting from these rides, like the new ride, Guardians of the Galaxy and Tron, if you live in Florida, you have got to get your ass over to Disney World and ride these rides, because they're not like the roller coasters we had when we were kids. They're absolutely addictive. Like there should be like warnings of addiction on them, because the blast of dopamine and serotonin is off the chart. It's crazy. So look, my feet are bruised from walking. About the third day or fourth day there, I got the little ECV cart because I had so many blisters on the bottom of my feet and bruising. And I actually ended up, I think I showed y'all a live stream where I went and bought some Hoka tennis shoes. I was going to get Saucony, and then I just couldn't really justify. I mean, it would have been close to $300, and so I went with the Hoka, which was $200, and then some really good socks, and that saved my feet. But I was really mad that I tore them up so bad the first day, because I had terrible shoes. I didn't think about what I packed. Anyway, this addiction to dopamine and serotonin and the things that we will do to get it. You go and spend $3,000 on a week just so that you can get your dopamine rush, right? And it is great. You see me smiling now. I'm remembering the thrill rides, and I'm like, damn it, I got to live there so I can go every day and ride these big roller coasters, But there's lots of ways to get dopamine. There's lots of ways to get serotonin. There's lots of ways to get that adrenaline up and going. And unfortunately, fighting can be one of those ways. Also, opiates deliver a powerful punch of endorphin, which is what, attracts people in the beginning. You start using the opiates because you're in legitimate pain. There is literally no other substance or behavior that we know of that is more effective for treating real pain than opiates. So opiates you have a conundrum there, because they're so effective in managing pain, and they're highly addictive. And so, the message of do no harm rings through your mind as you're trying to help people take opiates that need them, but take them in a way that it doesn't destroy their lives. And boy, I'm going to tell you something. You think alcohol can cause things to go off the rails? Not like opiates. They're very similar to, the rock and roller coaster, except you take them, nobody knows you're taking them until you start, and then you almost fall over. The jerk wakes you up. But the weirdest thing about it is that there is a stream of consciousness that doesn't go to sleep the same way that, like when you lay down to go to bed, the neurologically, the brain going to sleep is a really complicated process. It's a multi-path process. And one of the paths that is taken is that your brain actually will paralyze your body while the consciousness part of your brain is working. You've got memory consolidation. Sleep is actually a really active cognitive neurological process, but the body is paralyzed so that we don't get up and walk around and act out our dreams, right? With opiates, you don't have that. With opiates, you're going to sleep. You don't really have the paralysis. And the stream of consciousness is very strange because you could be talking like this and continue right with what you were saying as if you never slept. And indeed, the person that is on the nod, they don't have any realization that they just went to sleep. Like right in front of you as you're looking at them. They just pick up and keep on talking. And then it's just, to them, it never happened. And the listener, the person having the conversation with them is like, oh, what's happening? What is this? So it is incredibly dangerous. If you're taking narcotics or opiates on a level that you are on the nod while you are sitting up in a chair and the sun is out, you're dangerous. You're dangerous. You're dangerous to yourself, and you're dangerous to any creature that is under your care, whether it's animals or it's children or it's elderly people. You are out of control if you are on the nod. You are incapacitated. You have a disability if you are at the level of opiate intoxication that you are on the nod. There are very distinctive differences between someone who is on the nod and someone who has narcolepsy and someone who is just exhausted and, stayed awake too long. There are notable differences. For one thing, I've been driving far distances before, like at night. Like I lived in West Virginia, Kentucky for a while. I would drive home to see my family's 20-hour drive, or drive to Colorado, 19-hour drive. I've been there where you're driving and you're like, oh my gosh, I just almost fell asleep. This is very scary. You feel so physically uncomfortable when it's exhaustion, when you've been too long without sleep. Your body makes you so physically uncomfortable that you just will stop everything so that you can sleep. You're just like, I'm done. I'm too uncomfortable to continue this. I'm finished. And then with intention, you lay your head down and you're out, right? It's with intention. The nod is different than that. That discomfort is not there, partly because of the opiate. And so the part of the brain that puts you to sleep, your stream of consciousness remains active. You don't have the physical stimulus that is telling you you're in physical pain, you're in physical discomfort, you need to sleep. So you fall off to sleep and you jerk yourself back awake and you continue to talk as if you never fell asleep, and you don't feel uncomfortable, so you look alert. You can go on the nod and continue another conversation for 15, 20 more minutes. Then maybe you go back off again. It is a noticeable pattern that is standard among all people that reach that level of opiate intoxication. Fire, paramedics, policemen, doctors, nurses, we know it when we see it. If you are that incapacitated, any living creature that is under your care is in a dangerous situation because you're not available. Now, there's some things that I want to talk about, and you guys have heard me say before, why do we have the Chris Watts of the world or the Barry Morphew, right? There are people that knew Barry Morphew and Suzanne and the two girls, and they were me. That Barry and Suzanne were me and my husband. They were you and your husband. They're just two normal people that fell in love, had a family, made a career, then started facing real problems, real life problems. The stress got to them. Suzanne with the cancer returning, Barry making poor choices for trying to deal with his negative emotions and his loss. And I got news for you. Stress is not the way you think. You're not having stress because you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I'm such a nervous wreck. I'm stressed. Stress is a chemical change in your brain that affects the rest of your body. Stress is something that can make you have hallucinations. Stress is something that can make you become completely delusional. Stress is something that can cause you to kill your wife and children and convince yourself that it is really a good choice. Or that the only way Barry Lee Morphew had out was to get his hands on Suzanne's money, and she had to die in order for that to happen. But it was okay anyway, because she was dealing with cancer. So she probably wasn't going to live very long anyway. So it's okay to hurry it up a little bit, get a little bit of cash in your hand. Or the Adelson family. They were sick and I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the inconvenient truth that no one wants to hear. They were sick and tired of Dan Markel abusing Wendy Adelson. They had had it up to their eyeballs of his bullshit. That's the truth. They killed him. I believe it. I believe it in my heart and soul. I believe it. And while I think that Donna is delusional and has some serious control problems and is likely a definite narcissist, just like Lori Vallow, I do think they justified their actions by saying he's been mistreating Wendy for a long time, and we're not going to have that. He's not going to beat the Adelsons. So stress takes people from being in love and wanting to form a family, or they do form a family, and bad things start happening because life is difficult. And when stress sets in and you don't have the available coping skills, you don't know how to manage those highly, highly impactful emotions, they can make you get weird real fast, dangerous even. So I've said, I think that these situations happen. I do think narcissism is always at play. But I think that homes, families, things get dangerous when you stay too long. When you hang on to a relationship that has run its course. When you reach a point that you know that your mate is cheating on you, and you're just willing to overlook it because maybe it'll get better. If that person is willing to flirt and show off their body and try to act all sexy, trying to get female attention. If that person is willing to do that, where other people are watching, other people, where you are directly being shamed, it's finished. There's no respect. And you can look up the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, the 4 behaviors that signal the end of a relationship or marriage, or they are the same 4 horsemen that serve as red flags of a potential dangerous relationship. Potential domestic violence. So what starts out as our sanctuary, our home being a place of safety away from the world, a place that we go at the end of the day to lick our wounds and to feel better, that home becomes a battleground. And okay, hold on. Hey, what are y'all doing? You won, didn't you? Me on the bio. Okay, y'all, I apologize. When you get 2 phone calls in a row from your family, you get scared that there's a problem. So there's no problem. It was Bill telling me to go pick the squash. Sorry, we're farmers around here. Okay. So your home needs to be your sanctuary. Your home needs to be your safe place from the world, because the world is tough, because going out and working and trying to get the bills paid and trying to do everything that we have to do in life, it's very difficult. And so we have to have a place. Even animals, deer and fox and bears, they all have a home. They have a sanctuary, a place that they scout out, and they pat it down, they bring in stuff to make bedding, and they have a place that is their safe place when they're ready to sleep and go. Humans are no different. We need that, right? When you turn your house into a battleground on purpose by bringing bullshit into your house, you've now lost the narrative. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. If your house has gone from being sanctuary to being battleground, and you're sitting there blaming everyone except yourself and your partner, there's something wrong with that. Denial, I think, is the major culprit for staying too long. And I'm convinced, after doing this more than 20 years, I am convinced that staying too long is the harbinger of disaster. Now, I know why we stay. We stay for a lot of reasons in abusive relationships, whether it's emotional abuse, whether it's mental manipulation, whether it's physical assault. Staying in those relationships, it always comes down to this: 1, money. people think I'm not going to be able to make it financially if I don't have this other person's income. Okay, well, if you've got a partner with no income, riddle me this. Aren't your extra dollars being consumed by the person who is not contributing? Financially, I'm talking about. So another reason that people stay is they say to themselves, what if I never find another person? What if no one ever wants me? Okay, I got news for you. There are things 100 times worse than not having a man living in the house with you, or vice versa. Being in a house, sleeping with the enemy, there is no worse situation. That's it. You have reached the 7th level of hell. Okay? If you're sleeping with the enemy, you are in hell. But you know what? Do you know what denial can do for you when you're in Dante's 7th ring of hell? Your denial tells you that all you got to do is fix this, and then everything's going to be okay. It's going to go back to the way it was. I got news for you. I can't say this any louder. If your spouse is willing to flirt with other women while you are there, and more importantly, while there are other people around watching, so that not only are you being betrayed, but he is intentionally humiliating you in public, there is nothing to fix at that point. He's telling you that there's nothing to fix. He's saying, I'm king of the world, Mom. I can do my very worst, and there'll be nothing negative come back on me. So these stories like Barry and Morphew and Suzanne, or Chris Watts and Shanann and the children, or even Sebastian Rogers and his family members. It is stress, and it is stress that is sufficient. It is enough. It is strong enough to change you neurologically. Every bit as much as it changes you getting onto one of those roller coasters and getting those dopamine punch. You get off of those rides and your hands are shaking, the adrenaline is going, and you're like, that was great. We're doing it again. Now, it's a horrible situation. There's nothing more painful, in my opinion. There's nothing more painful than betrayal, but public betrayal takes it to a whole new level. That rates right up there with the death of a loved one. It's devastating. And for some people, it can be so uncomfortable that they will turn their back on the reality of it. They'll explain it away. This didn't really happen. He didn't really do that. And everybody that saw it is going, of course he did. Of course he did. We watched. But if you're trying to protect yourself and you're trying to protect your life, and there's a lot of fear, and you don't want to go out there and start over, so to speak, you can really convince yourself to look the other way and blame other people. No. Look, if I have trouble in my house, me and my husband, there's nobody else living here, just me and him, right? Well, all my animals and stuff. If we have trouble, I can't blame it on my mom. I can't say it's my adult child's problem because they did something. No way. If something's going wrong in my house, I own that. One way or the other, I had a part in it. Maybe I let things go too far. Maybe I stayed too long. Maybe I looked the other way and pretended it wasn't happening because I was just too tired or terrified to start over. But I can tell you this, in these types of situations, the greatest hope, the greatest chance of success that you can repair the relationship and rebuild, those situations come by getting separated. Move away from each other, get yourself and your kids into a situation that is calm and quiet, and you can heal and you can rest. And when your brain heals and starts working properly again, then you can make some decisions and some steps moving forward. But a daily just replaying day after day after day, same old bullshit over and over and over. They did it. They did it. They did it. They did it. I don't like this. I don't like that. They did it. They did it. Enough. It's not done anything except accelerated the destruction of your job. Take a few days, step back away from this. Find a quiet room with nobody in it and get relaxed and get healthy and make some choices about what you're doing, because this continual inviting the entire world to watch your sanctuary melt down, it is not it. You will lose it. And I'm going to tell you, you need to go over to Mommy Ramblin' blog, her channel. Take a look at the performance of her videos. This woman was bringing in 6,000 live viewers a night. How did it come to an end? To where now she gets like 20 viewers? How did it all come to an end? Exactly this bullshit. Fighting in public, online, every day, screaming and yelling every day, crying, hysterical every day. And people are like, dude, I am weary. No, thank you. But I do think, when I think about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and I think about this phrase, you stayed too long. Shanann stayed too long. Suzanne Morphew stayed too long. Substance abuse in these relationships that have become very cross, where there's a lot of criticism, all of that, it tears away your self-worth. It beats you down. Infidelity, while your self-worth is being decayed by the criticism of your mate or others, and your substance abuse, it has undermined your trust in yourself. You interject infidelity, and the foundation of your life has been shattered, which is what I think happened to Barry Morphew. I think his reality shattered when he came to the realization that Suzanne was not only cheating, but actually had a parallel relationship, a long-term relationship with her affair partner. There are 3 big problems that can really indicate the possibility of future danger in a house. Alcohol and drugs, even if they're prescription drugs, criticism by your partner, or you are the one criticizing your partner, and infidelity. Each one is destructive on its own, but when you put the 3 together, substance abuse, criticism, and infidelity, you have a toxic nuclear bomb sitting in your house. and anyone it touches, it's going to destroy, meaning your children, your credit score, your health it will all be destroyed by this toxic ooze of substance abuse, criticism, and infidelity. So the first step to kind of get things under control, the first step is peace. And that means turn off your camera. Get away from the internet, because there's a lot of criticism coming from the internet. There's a lot of criticism invading your sanctuary from the internet. Turn it off a week. Turn it off. Focus on you and your kids and find a quiet house. Just not much sound. Spend time playing with the kids, painting, a 30-minute walk in the morning, a 30-minute walk in the afternoon, going to sleep at about 9 o'clock, waking up at about 7 o'clock. Put some order back in your life. Put some peace and some structure back in your life. That's the very first step. Then you're going to have to come to some real terms about substance abuse. And the ability to get help and treatment for substance abuse is out there. It's easily accessible. You got to do it. As far as the infidelity, that's a problem that takes a little bit more time to resolve. But I don't think denial that it's happening is something that's going to lead you to a path of health and happiness. So in isolation, substance abuse, criticism, and infidelity are devastating. But when you put them all together in a relationship, now you've turned your supportive partnership into a pressure cooker. It's a bomb. And it's getting dangerously close to going off. The other thing that really scares me and motivated me to try to do this is that the best predictor of future behavior is past performance. If there is a home where there has previously been violence, when you've got this pressure cooker of substance abuse, criticism, and infidelity, when you have that pressure cooker and there's a history of violence, you're in a really dangerous situation. And I feel certain Shanann never said, oh, he's not nice to me and he's cheating, but he would never hurt me. And I'm sure that, Danny Markell never, ever imagined that they would take it that far and actually harm him. And I'm absolutely certain that Suzanne Morphew was worried that Barry might have the capacity to harm her. But I think she had no idea that he would do it in such a sinister and rapid way. I think she felt, as long as I'm living in his house, I'm probably safe. As long as I don't leave, he's not going to hurt me. I think in all these cases, they underestimate the power of stress. So that's my first discussion about why it is that I always say you wait too long and marriages become dangerous. Somebody dies, somebody gets hurt. If you stay too long. I've decided that I'm going to do a multiple of these videos because I do think there's a lot of people that are struggling to figure out when it's time to get out. And the next one that I talk about, I'm going to talk about the benefits of getting out of one of these toxic situations and see how that helps. Maybe there's big benefits. the benefits of leaving this primordial mess is astronomical. And the key to doing it is controlling your thoughts. Be accurate in what you say. If your mate is flirting in front of everyone and showing off their body, do not sit there and tell yourself that that person loves you. It's not an act of love. It's an aggressive act. It's intentional to embarrass and hurt you and maybe to hurt your business. All right. 16 years of abuse. Look right there. We all do it, pussycat. You're not the only one that did it. People stay too long for a lot of reasons. But it is better when you get out. It is better. All the way around, it's better. All right. I got to go. Absolutely, Sammy. It's good to see you. And thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. If you'll hit the subscribe button, you'll get notification when I do my next video. I don't have a regular upload schedule because I have a real job and I work all day. But if you subscribe, then you'll know when I put another video out. And yeah, there's a lot of new people in here today. I am a licensed psychologist, and I do teach and talk about mental health issues and how to just live a good, healthy life and keep yourself, feeling confident even when there's challenges. So I've kind of avoided doing this kind of thing on my channel before. I just wanted it to be fun, just a place to talk and chat. But wow, things have just gotten very toxic, and it's I'm hoping that everything will quiet and return to normal, and we can get back to just talking about things, right? So, all right, but I will do, my next video will be more positive about how do you leave, and then how do you take care of yourself when you leave. And please hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up, and I gotta go because I gotta go. See you later. Bye.